All right, we're in play. 100% win rate. The mountain, above all else, ladies and gentlemen. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch Hello Good Game. Today I've got something brand new for you guys, a mono red burn deck, which is different from the mono red aggro deck you may be familiar with, which has a high creature base, doing a lot of creature base damage using things like Embercleave to seal the deal. The mono red burn archetype that we'll be looking at today does differ from that though, in which we are not playing many creatures. We are doing our damage through spells, deal damage to any target style of spell, prioritizing this through the removal of important creatures or threats on the board, and sending the rest of it into the end zone. So if you're not really interested in learning how the deck works, how you should prioritize those spells, that's fine, I guess. Jump right into the gameplay with the chapters feature. Of course, if anybody here finds any value, please give the video a thumbs up to help my exposure. You can comment as well, and of course, subscribe for even more content. Getting in here, though, we start out with 4 copies of Shock. Instant speed, dealing 2 damage to any target. This is exactly what we're looking for. Not only in our opening hand, but, within the rest of the deck in general. An instant speed spell that deals damage to any target. That's really nice. So this allows us to prioritize it on whichever we like. So in the game, there are sometimes restrictions on your spells. You can only deal damage to target player, target creature, target planeswalker, or maybe a combination of the both, right? So when we do get the freedom to pick any target, we can really make the most out of it. Moving on, we do have 4 copies of Spikefield Hazard, also at instant speed, which is another big plus. The freedom to play the spell whenever you want, leaving the priority till last is highly beneficial and much favorable over sorcery speed. Much like being able to choose your target for your damage, being able to choose when you cast the spell also has massive benefits to it. So, dealing 1 damage to any target. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So if you're taking out a creature, it goes to exile. This is really nice for particular reasons. Any recursion, stuff like Lurrus, things with escape, they're going to be replayed from the graveyard again. So if there's something that we don't want to see, a good example is a Kroxa, which will sacrifice itself when it enters play. We can cast this on it right away, have it go away, and now it's gone forever. We don't have to deal with it. So, whether it is the chip damage that we're doing, or the reach damage, I should call it. I want to call it chip damage because it's only 1, but the reach damage into our opponent over top of their creatures to close out the game, or, trying to remove their threats. That, decision's going to be up to us again, which is really, really quite nice. What is still nice, but not quite as good, is Royal Eruption for 2 at sorcery speed, dealing 3 damage to any target. If it was kicked, it deals 5 damage instead. This is, for me, replacing the Lightning Strike. 3 damage for 2 mana, I really like. I'm in love with it. It's not sorcery speed like Lightning Strike is, which is really sad. But again, we don't have access to that right now. Where the benefit does come in, because we're sacrificing that instant speed, is we get the kicker for 5. It does cost 7, which is expensive, but late game, if you just need some extra damage, why not? You're not using the land or the mana on anything else anyway. So if we do kick it, that additional damage, doing 5 total, it's a lot. 5 mana for 2 damage is very poor, as we see Shock deals 2 damage for 1 mana, right? So that is far worse. But like I said, if you have dead mana, it's a great way to sink it into something at least. 4 copies of our Shatterskull Smashing. This costs 2 plus X at sorcery speed, dealing X damage divided as we choose among up to 2 creatures and or planeswalkers. And if X is 6 or more, it will deal twice that damage instead. So, we're talking about prioritizing our burn damage on creatures and our opponents. The Smashing is a great way to try to begin to fill in that whole picture for yourselves, because it will only deal damage to a creature and to a planeswalker. So we know if we have a Smashing in our hand that we can freely cast, maybe we can save some of our other burn damage to use on our opponent later on. We use our creature-based burn damage on the creatures. so on and so forth, right? So you're beginning to realize what prioritizing these spells is really going to mean for you in the matches. 4 copies of Bone Crusher Giant. This is a 4/3, and whenever it becomes a target of a spell, it will deal 2 damage to that spell's controller. This is really, really nice. Even if your opponent goes to remove it with a targeted removal, you get 2 damage in. So, it's getting that little bit of value in even if it's removed. If it's not removed and you have an open field, this is really nice because we don't have many creatures in the deck. So if we can have a 4/3 in play and get any damage in with it, it's going to be very good. Of course, we have Stomp for 2 as the instant speed adventure. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. Really, really nice here. Typically, I will save my burn in hand until I know I can throw it all in case something else happens in play. However, lots of the time, if I have a Stomp and it's our opponent's end step, I'll cast it because then I can play the Giant for 3 on the next turn rather than just sitting on it still. So, I very rarely will cast damage in on the opponents on their end step unless it's a Stomp, right? Otherwise, I kind of keep it in hand to figure out what the next couple turns are going to be like, unless I know I can close it out really quite quickly. So, the Bone Crusher Giant is great. It deals that damage that we need. It can have more damage dealt if your opponent targets it to remove it, and of course, if they don't, it's on the field. At the very least, it's a blocker, and better yet, it's going to apply more pressure. 4 copies of our Slaying Fire at instant speed for 3, dealing 3 damage to any target. We have Adamant, which means if we cast 3 mana to spend this, or we spend 3 red mana to cast this spell, is what I mean to say, it will deal 4 damage instead. And of course, we're playing a mono red deck, so that will always be the Adamant cost, which is quite nice. So, 4 damage for 3 mana at instant speed is really, really good. Not to mention that, it's going into any target again, right? The Valakut Exploration is an enchantment for 3 with landfall, and whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. Of course, you may play that card as long as it remains exiled, and at the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with the Exploration, you get to put those cards in the owner's graveyard, and then the Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. This is better than it seems. It's consistent chip damage, plus it's a very nice draw engine. Playing a land, getting access to another card is really good, even if it means getting another land out of the way, which, again, just deals a little bit more chip damage. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's all thumbs up for the Exploration in a mono-red burn deck to allow you a little bit of more playability in the mid and late games. 2 copies of Phoenix of Ash, a 2/2 with Flying and Haste. We can pump it by +2/+0 with a mana cost of 3 until the end of turn, and the escape cost is 4. Exiling 3 other cards from our graveyard, the Phoenix will escape with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, a 3/3 with Flying and Haste, which is quite formidable. This is basically burn damage, right? I know it's awkward, but a poor man's burn spell, if you will. And in a rogue meta, it's nice to just have that little bit of defense against the rogues, if you will. Speaking about defense against the rogues, Storm's Wrath, dealing 4 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. We're talking about prioritizing our removal. We do have the Smashing, which is creatures only. We also have Storm's Wrath, which is creatures and planeswalkers only as well. So, make sure that if you have these spells, prioritize them as the removal, and the rest of your spells can be used as the burn damage. 2 copies of Chandra, Heart of Fire, a 5 loyalty planeswalker, +1, discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library until the end of your turn. You may play cards exiled this way. +1, Chandra deals 2 damage to any target. Again, that's exactly what we're looking for. And -9, search your graveyard and library for any number of red instances and sorcery cards. Exile them, then shuffle your library. You may cast them this turn at 6 red mana to your pool. Woof. The discard your hand is amazing on an empty hand. And if we don't have an empty hand, we can just deal 2 damage to any target. Where we really start to shine here is our Chandra's Incinerator. This is a 6/6 with Trample, and it costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage your opponents incur this turn. We can reduce it by as much as 5, playing it for 1. Again, we do have to deal that 5 damage to our opponent, so we are spending that mana somewhere, but if we have things like Chandra in play, uh, and we have a little bit of that removal that we were saving up, not spending all the time, and using our creature removal instead, then we can, throw a couple of removal spells in and play a creature, and it's like we got, 5 mana for free, basically, which is really cool. And of course, if they don't remove it, it's got trample, and that should help us close out most matches. 20 mountains, not much going on there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, again, use your smashing, use your Storm's Wrath to remove their creatures. If not, Bone Crusher Giant gets used first because you play it as a creature. And then, if you do need to remove stuff to survive, go ahead, that's fine. And, get your draw engine out there through your exploration. Try to get Chandra out as soon as possible and cheat out your Incinerator for really good value. The deck definitely works, but there's a lot of weird things going on in the meta right now. It's hard to beat an Ugin if they get there, and, there's not quite enough burn to be, hitting people down in 3-4 turns like we used to do with the old burn decks. So it's not as strong, and it certainly isn't as viable as it used to be, but it's still a fun deck. You can win with it. I'm in Mythic winning games, and I'm sure it operates just fine in the play queue if you had a red spells quest to do. With that being said, we're just keeping it fresh. We're exposing new things every day to help inspire you guys, right? Maybe you see something here today that sparks a little bit of inspiration for a different deck that you can make yourself. And, that's what used to happen to me before I started creating content, and that is my goal for all of you as well. So I hope you enjoy the gameplay footage. The deck was a lot of fun to play. I think we had like a 50% win rate, something like this. Not great, not bad. It's a deck, right? And again, just keeping things fresh. So enjoy the gameplay footage, and of course, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back to wrap up in a few minutes. Alrighty. This doesn't look bad. Not the greatest lures, probably rogues. So, kind of gross, but just we get what we get. Alright, we're in play. 100% win rate. The mountain, above all else, ladies and gentlemen. Woof. Can't wait to play that mountain again. It's got a 100% kill rate. 100% win rate, you guys. Right here. On basic mountain. You ready for it? No, just kidding. I'm sorry. It just cracks me up. Ooh, Temur. Ouch. Okay. They're taking the turn off. That's good. I mean, not really, but to me, people ramping is like taking their turn off against an aggro deck. Not that we're an aggro deck, this is Burn, which I guess is like a subsect of aggro. We don't have many creatures, we just have spells that deal direct damage, and things that benefit from that. I don't care for these eruptions, we're at 4 mana. We could double cast to kill it, but I don't want to spend all of our burn. It's like, let's just leave it and clean up everything else. we can't deal with that Beanstalk Giant either. Woof. Okay. If only we were dropping to 6. Maybe we pull a shock. We also have our Spike Field Hazards, which could finish the deal. You gotta think that ways out, right? Guess we should start reining in. Oh! Right to the chops. Wiping the field. Wow, that's gonna be annoying. I was thinking maybe if we could kick this. But that 7/7 is too much. I guess we can double down on it. 8 damage. Ah! We should have already done it! They could have cast it anyways, though. They did get 2 extra mana out of that, though. Right? But it's just a land anyways. This is meant to go to their face. So this sucks, but that thing will destroy us. Let's get Chandra to a -9. Right? Has Chandra ever seen a -9 yet? No creatures. No creatures. No creatures. No creatures. No creatures! Why did I say that? No! The game just wanted to make sure that I knew that Ugin wasn't a creature. You get what you fucking deserve. Woof. We'll get eventually. It'll go. We can do it in play queue, we can do it in 80% mythic. We out here. Yeah, we've been play testing a lot today. We don't typically want to hardcast Shock just to pass it because we can reduce the Incinerator there with positive value. But the Giant, it can go in. This is it. This is the match, ladies and gentlemen. No! At least we get some damage out of it. Esper. Okay, let's get some chip damage going. Not only do we get the land out of the way, but we deal 1 damage. I love it. Gain 2 life. Okay, Esper Doom. So we know that they're going to be playing these stackable enchantments, or like it's called Esper stacks, or just stacks in general. Sacks? I think sacks, not even stacks. I think like SAXX. It could be stacks with a T. I should know this. This sucks. Alright, let's just roll the dice. So we have 5 available mana. We cast for 3, dealing 4 damage. Right? So this is like a positive 1 value. So we can cast this for 5. Omen. Sure. I mean, I'm sure there's a Doom coming down on top of us that's gonna ruin our day, but we'll try our best. They could have a counterspell. I don't doubt that they do. Hey! 6/6 with trample. Ow! Why you gotta always be like that? It's no fun allowed, you guys. If you're trying to play Magic and you're looking to have fun, is adjacent. It's not quite fun. It is sometimes. Believe it or not, this land is really good. Oh. I think playing it for card advantage is better than the 1 damage. It's okay. It's okay. You know, just their 15th removal spell. That's fine. The double draw is nice if we get a land. Simulacrum. Lovely. Eyes on our wheel. They just want in our hands. Interesting. Playing our Incinerator. Losing our Royal Eruption, I assume. Could be anything, though. Yeah, they take the Eruption. Kind of awkward. Serious! The removal. They've taken out 3 of them. Just flawlessly. Oh! Opponent goes first. 2 Incinerators in hand is a little awkward. But if it's an aggro deck, anyway, Snowstorm's Wrath. That's nice. It's not. Well, maybe. Yeah, okay, it's rogues, sure. I like that. Do you like that? Do you like the rogues? Come on, play your first rogue. Sure, kind of stuff. It could be Dimir. Just like, you know, rogues is Dimir too, but Dimir's Ashiok for control for me. Yeah, this is definitely Dimir control. We need to be sending these spells straight home. Don't counter him. Don't worry about it, man. It's just the creature card. Okay, you count the creatures, don't counter these enchantment then. Pick one or the other. Oh! If I was being threatened by the mob, I would allow anybody to play whatever they want. Let's maybe just shift over to Maya here. She seems to be more entertaining than anything today. One more time on the creature! Hey! And then the removal. To wait till our attack phase. Let's try to take our attack, yes? Pretty please? Here's the removal. Wow. Just getting wrecked. Just getting wrecked, son. Nice shot, bruh. Oh. We can't top deck. It's not gonna work. Alright, let's just call it quits. Our opponent goes first. Sure. Ye have little faith. The deck's just fine. You know, totally playable archetype. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it! Let's just take it now while we know we can. Maybe we can just burn their hand out. Everybody grab a leg, let's go! I want to get away! Yeah, yeah! I probably shouldn't sing. Quit embarrassing yourself, bro. Cleric City, huh? This Storm's Wrath is gonna be of high value. Let's see what they play. We do need that fourth land, remember. Is it the Orphan? Yeah, the Hierophant. I call him the Orphan, but... Or the Hierophant. I'm combining the first and last of the name. So, so let's not risk it. Let's just keep oppression on. Right, worst case, you know, maybe we just defend with a giant. The life gain is upsetting. You know what I mean? It is upsetting. I almost don't want to have the life gain happen. But then, you know, it basically will anyways. So we're going to play the land and pass. We'll just slang fire it. And then we're not incurring combat damage. And, you know, the new cleric that comes out will have summoning sickness. Alright, let's take it out. Hopefully they play a bunch more clerics on top. Alright, we've got our fourth land for the Wrath. They play another cleric. This goes to 5. Woof. That has gotta hurt. Especially after playing your Awakening. Another. Wow. Okay. Let's take this at sorcery speed, then we're holding up instant speed. That's a big boy. That is a big boy. They have removal, it's in their hand. Let's just play it safe. We don't want to lose, so let's keep our life in high esteem. There's no form of life gain for us, really, so we just need to keep them from doing anything. They can mill a bunch. It's 1 damage to each opponent from the mill. For each creature, right? But now they're like, not... They just top-decked a creature from themselves, so... I don't know about that, but I do know about this. That's going to take care of that as a blocker. Dump their mana. I hope they top-deck another creature. They do, it's a Vessel. Not that having the Vessel in the grave is good. But it's better than them drawing a creature. Now they're going to top-deck a land, right? We hit for 4. Ending our turn. You know, this is typically the point your opponent would play an Ugin on you, and it's just like, bow your head in shame. Let's keep this for removal. Interesting. Hit for 4. Exploration. Mid-game to late game in a red deck is an absolute must. And we've got this removal in hand, which is just delightful. Lethal next turn. Loving it! Just hammering in with some creature-based damage to close it out. And there's hope here, but String of Bad Luck has proven that maybe it's not super consistent. What did you guys think of the deck? Let me know in the comments below. I had a lot of fun playing it. Remember, today's video is brought to you by MTGA Assistant, available for free within the Linktree link and the Overwolf link in the description below. Metagame analysis, you know, collection stats, your deck statistics, and, you know, of course, a draft helper and your draw analysis as well. It's in the left hand of my screen while we play. Every day, I get the question each and every day. Each download also does help support me as well. So, you know, check it out. It's available for free to everybody on Windows. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you in a few seconds in the next video.